um, because lots going on. I'm going to give you guys a second to get here. Say hello when you do. Andy's here with me. We were just talking about some stuff. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to come on and we're going to see what's up. See how you guys are doing. Talk about what has been happening energetically. Things are just really feeling off, and strange, but let me make sure. It says we're live. Just wanna make sure that we actually are. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on TikTok for the second time in a row without having to adjust anything. Yep, there we are on the Facebook. I am live. I'm alive, although that feels questionable right now. It totally does. I mean, I don't even know anymore what is happening in this world we live in, and I bet you a lot of you feel that way, um, which is why I wanted to come on tonight, and then I just lost my little chat window. Hold on. So, again, oh, we got a little feedback, Mr. Andy. Got a little bit. Oh, yeah. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Let me turn down my speaker a little bit. I had it set better last time, so
Yeah, I'm gonna turn
yeah,
down
it's better that way we don't get any ambient noise or anything feeding into the system. So, well, yeah, you and I were just sort of, commiserating and sort of trying to figure out the weird energy, and while we both sort of feel like we need to do something, but we're so exhausted, we're trying to figure out the hows and the whys, and we feel like we're winning, but we don't feel like we're winning. And then there's a little voice at the back that has me throwing up my hands going, "What are we doing? And
It
why?"
feels like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
feels like that. Um, love transcends fear. All things are possible with love. Yeah, I hear you. Um, but we're here to actually talk about some real things, gratitude, and how actually people's energies are sitting right now, and what our actual thoughts are. I'm not one to bypass. Hello, hello. Uh, who is watching? Is Anili? Is Anili? I don't know if I'm saying that right over on YouTube. How are you? I just put up a post today and I wrote a Substack about it because I've pulled way back the last couple weeks on making content, and on m- just doing videos. There's a lot of noise out there. And since the TikTok, um, sale, new ownership on TikTok, I've been sharing with Andy daily, like, my feed is so vanilla right now. It's almost disturbing because I was talking to my oldest daughter even this morning, and she's like, I got to delete social media or something because it's driving me crazy and I'm feeling very anxious and overwhelmed and maybe even depressed. I'm like, okay, before you do anything permanent, because she's an empath. She's not as tuned in. She's definitely not, as aware or awake, I guess, as I am. She literally, thank you for sharing the live, Andy. She literally was telling me how overwhelmed she feels right now. And I was like, a lot of this has to do with mass consciousness, right? So if you guys are watching, tell me in the comments, tell me in the chat, like, are you feeling any or all of those? Like, feeling a lot of nervous energy. Hold on, let me pop this up so I can see it. Feeling a lot of nervous energy, system problems, and yes, my TikTok hasn't been the same, boring and not enlightenment, right? Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I'm not, and I know I'm not the only one, but it's like when you can only see what you're getting on your feed. It's really hard. But what I
And,
tell my
you know,
daughter, This is the collective energy. There's so many things coming at us that are not true. The narrative is being controlled. In gratitude, I appreciate where you're coming from. Love, love, love. I am not your love and light teacher. I'm not your love and light person. I believe in love and light, but I believe in appropriately facing exactly what's been going on. So I really want for y'all to be able to deal with this conversation. And if you can't, and it's all love rocks, the universe went, like, I'm not your person. I'm not fluff. And I've been at this for a long time, a long time. And I really do not want to add to the other noise, which is the bypassing community. For real. There's a lot of bypassing, spiritual bypassing going on. There's a lot of gurus that are telling people, acting like we're still in 2021, 2022, 2020. No, this is a whole new energy frame, and we're not playing. I'm not here to play.
Well, you know,
Ben Martinez on TikTok saying I'm an empath too. You knew that already about me. Hey Ben, what's up? Long time no see. Heavy nervousness and like unsettled. I wonder if others feel the same. So glad you are saying that, because again, like I was telling you, I was talking to my daughter and I'm like, I get you're depressed. I get you're overwhelmed. I get that you can't seem to focus on everything and move forward in a clean way the way that you have before. And I actually put a post out to my community in Hidden Wisdom, my monthly membership community, and asked them, what are you guys going through? And I'll tell you guys, like a couple of people did answer. I put it up a few hours back. Um, and just said, like, what's on your mind? What are your struggles? One of them said the economy, fear of taking the next step, the negative energy in general. Finally, and we talked about this last month in our Hidden Wisdom coaching, but she was saying, like, finally got to meditate and feel some clarity. And she was saying she's struggling when she goes into meditation. She's not getting a super clean connection like she's always done before. And there's a reason for that. So we'll talk about that tonight too. If you're struggling with that, you're not the only one. Then another one of my people said, health, fear, uncertainty of everything that's happening within our government and economy. So, like, for those of you who are sitting in your lives and you're like, I'm trying to be positive. Andy and I were just talking about this. And you're like, what am I doing wrong? You're not doing anything wrong, which is why I want to have an honest conversation without fucking fluff, and face this stuff with you guys, cuz I'm going through it too. I may be a freaking clairvoyant. I may be a coach who's helped people through trauma, and I do high performance stuff and I do the health stuff, but I'm going through it too. I'm an empath too, of the nth degree. So it's not like I get out of feeling everything. I have to navigate these waters. I'm not going to sit on some pedestal and tell you all, I got it all figured out, and love and light, rise above it. We're trying to rise above it. I am doing my best from moment to moment and day to day, as many of you are. And I will never pretend that I'm doing something that I'm not doing. And so, like, the people that want to come in here and do the love and light thing, and you just need no bypassing. The bypassing is what got us to where we are right now, where we all want shit to change and we're like, what is happening? Why do we seem to be stuck on a treadmill and we're not going anywhere? Why? Because a lot of us feel the same. I'm not even depressed. A lot of mundane functions just seem meaningless. Yes, I believe in my abilities and myself, just trying to find something that feels substantial and worth a purpose. Again, so glad. Are you a man or a woman? I can't tell by your name. Um, but I love your comments, and you're literally took the words out of my mouth. Lot of people are struggling right now. I was reading, I was looking up on Facebook. I spent some time on Facebook today. I don't normally, but I went onto Facebook today just to see some of the people that are in my industry. And I've shared this before. I have a huge frustration with these gurus that are super popular, that are not speaking to what's happening right now. They're afraid to. Woman to speak. Gotcha. Okay. That's
Well,
why.
I would I don't think they're afraid to the only thing, and you and I have had this conversation, they are speaking to their bank account. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
That
No, I hear
that's
you.
their focus. They're speaking to their bank account, and if they actually said something that, was contrary to what, half of the audience is out there, because if we believe we're a divided nation, and we do, there are more folks that did not vote for Donald J. Trump than voted for him in the aggregate. So if you look at it that way, depending on what your opinion is, and you're an influencer, and that's how you make your money, if you say something and get crossed with one segment, you have lost half your audience. So those influencers, you can tell, since they haven't said anything of consequence, all they care about is their bank account. That's it. In my humble opinion, that's all they care about. Because if they
I
really
would
cared
have
about
to
us
agree.
and the country, they would be doing something to say,
Well,
and
like the point I made earlier, they're living and teaching from or speaking from, whether it's motivational speaking or the normal coaching platforms that they're running on, and influence platforms that they're running on, they're speaking as if we're still in 2023 and part of 2024. The energy has changed. Things have shifted. We are not there anymore. And you cannot, I mean, I guess you can. I shouldn't say you can't. You can continue to pretend that nothing major has changed and hey, fulfill your purpose. One of the posts that I saw today, I'll have to see if I can pull it up because it really got on my last nerve. Um, and I'm not going to tell you guys who said it. You may know who said it, but it, it literally is very 2024, 2023 esque. It's so much more about achievement and the same old stuff. The symptoms, this is the quote, the symptoms of small mindedness are gossip, offense, and drama. People on a path of purpose don't have time for drama. And I see a lot of comments will come onto my feed when I'm doing live streams or content, or like the beginning of this one. And we had someone come in and start the whole love thing because that's the spiritual community's answer to everything is love and light. Well, that doesn't speak to what's happening and how people feel. That whole thing that this person's quote is about is marketing to, and it is marketing. It can be a motivational quote, whatever. It's, to me, it's just marketing. You're trying to sell the same old shit, the same old way, and telling people, go find your path and purpose here, hire me, let me help you with that, while not acknowledging there are people afraid to leave their homes right now. There are people that are getting ripped from their families and children getting put in detention centers for months and months and months and treated so inhumanely. We have to talk about it. Like I can't on my platforms, as small of a creator as I am, and as long as I've been helping people, I will not, I refuse to stay silent. And I know that there's a lot of people I end up blocking. There's a lot of people that don't agree with me, and that's cool. People can think that that's death to business. My main concern is not making money. My main concern is being a light in trying times and helping people navigate their way out of it in the most whole and holistic way possible. So when I see so much of this, there's a guy I shared a video with. I shared a video with Andy the other day, this psychologist who I love. I love the guy now. He was going after Mel Robbins for some. What was the post? Do you remember what it was?
I don't remember exactly, but he had me laughing all the way through because you and I both know what we both feel about Mel Robbins and the 5 second rule and just let them, and how that is just a bunch of BS and just to sell books. But
And how she
um,
hasn't spoken up. She said her thing was, I stand with Minneapolis. You haven't spoken Word one in the entire year that went by with people that were getting arrested. And now on our feeds, especially on TikTok, you can't see the protests going on in LA, in Minneapolis. You're not seeing what they're doing anymore in the last 2 weeks, and especially the last week where it's all being held back. Gratitude on TikTok saying that works for all of us. What we have is corrupt, perverted government. You can explain all you like. Go ahead, put it in the comments.
Well,
Um,
you mentioned influencers, and the one that popped up for me this morning, our school district here, the Clark County School District in Las Vegas, the superintendent of schools was being influential and talking about the fact that ICE is not allowed on campus. In fact, we passed a state law that doesn't allow them to come on the school campuses to do their business. And as she was saying that, making it sound like she's an influencer and she was doing her level best to protect her constituency, the kids and their families, I was thinking to myself, do you not get it? Kids aren't showing up in school, not because they're afraid of them being grabbed on campus. It's them going to school and leaving school when ICE follows you home and gets to your parents and gets to you.
but
That's the
we
reason
had
the
a bunch
kids
of protests here in the San Antonio area. The high schools protested, right? And Abbott released a statement, I think earlier today, like he's going to cut funding to the schools that are allowing their students to participate in this stuff. Like, all right, the kids are finally getting involved. This is their future, which is also why I think we need to speak about what's going on. If we hold it in and just think about all these things and feel the pressure that is happening, we are all going to be, especially as we get closer to the end of the month. For those of you who don't know, I am a clairvoyant, clairaudient. Yes, I help people, but I use my gifts that way. I did just open up readings again because a lot of people are asking me to look at different things. And we may look at some things tonight if you guys actually have some questions, generally speaking, about the world at large and where things are going. But there's this space where we have to talk about our feelings and get it out of our heads and come into community to where there's a space held to feel what you feel and talk about what you feel and to find out you're not alone. Because right now, if you feel all of this pressure by yourself and you feel offset from normal, or what your normal emotional level and how you normally rise above things, but you're pushing and it's not happening so easily, it's so much better when you're in a community where you're like, oh, I'm not alone. Oh, this is everybody. Oh, I get it now. Like, that's not so bad.
And the important idea behind that really is too, because they want us to feel isolated. They want us to feel alone. And they want us to feel like we can't do anything because we're just one little person. They
And
want
then
us all to feel
comply,
that way.
comply.
Yeah.
Freedom on here is saying my kiddo goes to Reagan in San Antonio. My daughter deeply cares. That is so awesome, Freedom. Our school over here, they carried out, I think, a successful protest, and there's been quite a few of the districts around here that didn't have any incidents. But I don't know if you saw Hot Wheels statements today. He's already trying to cut funding. He's already trying to make school privatized. He's already fulfilling the heritage stuff with making education harder for normal people to take part in. And then you hear Dr. Oz's comments about, kids just need to be ready to work earlier, like the year they graduate, and people that retire need to work through retirement. It's like, oh, so we're going back to that narrative. We're just here
Which
to
we
produce.
which we already are, by the way, Dr. Oz. Thank you, Dr. Obvious. But what's happening in the educational system is a great example in the Lone Star State is they're trying to keep their constituents dumb because two things are going to happen. And the Lone Star State's a great example. They're building two things in Texas: data centers and detention centers.
Yes.
And they don't need anybody in data centers, but they're going to need people to work the detention centers. And
Yes.
they need low level, low intelligence, as Donald Trump likes to say, people to work those things. So if you're looking for jobs in the future, let them build the detention centers, which they're doing in very small towns, out of the way under the radar from the media. They're building them right now because DHS has the budget to do those things. They're building them across the country. And you need to wake up and notice in your small little town where you think, now I've got a job, because they're building something. They're building places to house people. It's
Gratitude is
crazy.
saying unheard, unloved, feel connected, and I don't understand what you're trying to say. Like, what does that have to do with unheard, unloved, feel connected, and like that? You're not saying anything. If the last thing you wrote was, "Can I explain?" And I don't know what you're like. Are you, is that your explanation, or is that a whole other comment? Y'all need to understand, when I am doing these lives, when you have to put a complete thought in the comments or I can't track it. Like, it's, text is hard enough and I think easy to misunderstand. And sometimes I do misunderstand comments because they come through like that, sort of fragmented. So I try to remember that. I'm going to ask you guys to also remember that when you're taking part in these conversations, because I don't want to misunderstand, and I don't want you to misunderstand because I've misunderstood. So to keep it on a good playing field for all of us, complete thoughts are always much appreciated and kind of needed
And
during this time.
a couple of simple points, since I spend most of my time in the media. And keep it simple, and don't try. And I do this a lot when I send out emails and I have to stop myself. You're sitting there typing thinking, I'm going to be clever here, or I'm going to be sarcastic. It doesn't transfer very well to text. Keep it as simple
It
as
doesn't.
possible and declarative, so that Bernadette can help you, because if she has to go back and forth asking for more clarification, that just sort of slows things down.
And by then we've just moved on. The conversation has moved on.
Yeah.
So yeah. In any case, you guys are welcome to join the conversation, whether it's in chat or if you want to jump up into our dashboard. You are going to have to talk to Andy first before we bring you on air. But if you want to have a conversation about something specific, that applies to everybody, that kind of adds to the community conversation, feel free. Andy can pop up the link for y'all, and if you type that link into a browser, you can easily uh, jump into the conversation.
Yep.
You
Happy to
want to
have you
pop
join the
that up,
conversation.
Mr. Andy? You want to pop that link up?
Oh,
Anywho, um so as YouTube, the YouTube comments we're getting, I'm trying to pronounce your name. It's is Annie Griffin. I think that, am I saying that right? Is Annie Griffin? Is that how you say your name? Um, this whole thing about wanting to do something substantial, something of worth, we all, I think, kind of feel that right now. And what feels purposeful today, in today's world, in with what we've got going on, what feels purposeful is so different than what felt purposeful before, right? Like, we're not where we were even last year. Like, things have amplified rather quickly. And what I've noticed, even when I'm tuning in and answering questions, either for my community, for myself, for my clients, my private clients, is the energy behind everything has like this foggy, oh, Asani, like Dasani. Gotcha. Um, it's got this weird, it's like a layer of ick. I don't even know any other way to describe. It's like having dirty sunglasses on. And we've got to get the dirt off to see exactly what we're looking at. But imagine that on an emotional level. Imagine that on just a clarity and understanding level. We're all trying to get through these really tinted, tainted filters. Does that make sense? And do you guys like understand? Like, does it feel like that for you? And I'll start with you, Andy. Does it feel like that for you?
yep. Yes, that's probably the best explanation. Just To get back to the point about, starting from love, I get that, and I try to work from that point, but
Always.
and to rise above it, um, there's more to it than that because we're trying to raise the bar. So yeah,
And
we,
raise the vibration out of fear for those who don't even know they're in fear. That's the part why we have to have these conversations. And like, y'all, I am not one because I help people with fear. I'm known, like, one of my monikers is the fear slayer because we deal with fear all the time. It resides within the ego. Any product of the ego, I'm dealing with it with my clients, with my groups all the time. We don't deal with fear and handle it if we can't talk about it. And if we can't talk about the things that trigger fear and trigger panic, right? Like, we actually have to have the conversation. You can't avoid what's happening right now. We can't. No bypassing. Um, ooh, let's see. Being genuinely kind and helpful and spreading love even for a second at my job has been good. I wish I could do more of that. I noticed I alleviate anxiety for people. That's amazing. That's amazing. And it's true. It always feels, I think right now, it always feels good if you know that you've held some space for someone and shifted something positive, like brought something to the fore positive for them. I find that all the time. Like tonight, I didn't have it scheduled to go live. The only night that I schedule to go live is Saturdays for our live call-in um, program. That's the only night I actually have scheduled. The rest of the time, it's when I have the energy, when I feel like something needs to be talked about and I want to hold space for people. I've been so exhausted this week, and it's not normal fatigue. It literally, this week's energy has been from the start draining. And it's so easy to just go, I'm going to go into my hidey hole, go watch some Korean dramas or C dramas and just wash my brain and tune out. And sometimes I have no choice but to do that because on so many levels, I got nothing left to give by the end of the day. But today I'm like, no, I still have energy. But I'm not going to lie and say it's not draining. It is draining right now. It's a draining just getting out of bed in the morning. And that's not a normal for me. And it's been like that now for months. But I've noticed that funny veneer of dirt over the filters, it's coming in waves and it's really hard. I guess not, it's harder than normal to get beyond it and to go beneath it to find out what's really going on for people and for
it's like
ourselves.
it's like having that filter on a camera. You know how they put screens on to
Yes.
sort of give you that.
The distortion filters. Yes.
Yeah,
Like the,
yeah.
the fisheye filter you put on the camera, or, yeah,
The
exactly.
thing that the thing that sort of concerns me, because you're right, and I'm in the same place you are. I'm exhausted, but not tired, and I know the difference. You know,
So, Asani saying, "Yes, I feel drained AF." That's it. That's what we're all feeling, is drained, because they purposely are literally trying to keep us there. Flood the
well,
zone.
they're
Freedom
trying to
saying the
wear.
same thing. Me too. They're flooding the zone. They're flooding it on social media. They're hitting the economy. I don't know if you guys saw, like, Bitcoin is like tanking. Not that I do Bitcoin, but for a lot of people, that's hugely concerning. Everything at one time, from the Epstein files to all of the government shutdown, all the things. And I'm going to give myself an attaboy. I said January for the yearly forecast, we're going to have a shutdown, government shutdown. Sure as shit, we did. I said January is going to be a shit show. And every day of the month of January, no joke, was a shit show. This month so far, and there's only been 4 days, we've had periods within a day where we can catch our breath. But we're ramping right now. And I want you guys to understand that there's an astrological alignment that happens on the 20th that is the first time it's hit in over 2,000 years. And there's some discussion between astrologers. Was it 2,000 years ago? Was it 7,000 years ago? But we have a Saturn Neptune conjunction that happens on Aries, 0 degrees in Aries, and that placement has not happened. That exact placement, can't track it back. It's been so long ago. The last time we came close to a Saturn Neptune conjunction, just that without the 0 point, was in 1989 when the Berlin Wall came down. So that's hopeful. But Aries, the sign of Aries, represents war, aggression, action, passion. Like it's fire. It's an energy that burns through things and pushes through things. So we don't really know what that means. We don't know what that's gonna bear.
Right. And for the folks that follow Chinese astrology, on the 17th of this month, it's the year of the horse. It's the year of the fire horse, which means the pace is going to quicken.
Yes.
And it's that's where I'm sort of trying to gird myself up. If we hit the 17th of February, begin Chinese New Year, and then the 20th, we hit that benchmark, we all need to be prepared for whatever is ahead
For
of us.
shifts. It's literally like, I'm not scared. I think we have to look at um these very rare things that are happening. And a lot of this, there's rare alignments once in a lifetime, literally, or multiple lifetime alignments. And even the Bible says, and every spiritual text says, there will be signs in the heavens. There'll be signs in the stars. Kabbalah teaches that, right? We are given signs that create demarcations of times of change. Every prophecy, whether you're talking Chinese Tui Batu, you're talking the Egyptians, you're talking the Hinduism prophecies, you're talking Christianity, Gnostic text, all of them are pointing to the same things that are unfolding, and we are all living through it. And I'm not saying be scared, I'm saying be prepared. We are all, I think, from an energetic and mental standpoint, and even an emotional standpoint right now, being prepared for some of the changes that are going to take place, right? Some of the things that are kind of unfolding are making us already have to adjust to a different level of energy, a different level of energy intensity. So I'm going to put that out there. I saw a meme post. This guy finally gave up searching for a Deca drive, a data drive, 3 million in Bitcoin. Ah, shit. Also feel like our algorithms reflect planetary alignments. This is true. Signs, symbols, even memes, songs, music. Like there's no mistake. Do you guys know that song Golden from the K-pop Demon Hunter, and that movie that just skyrocketed towards the end of 2025? That K-drama hit the box office at number 1. All of the songs from the soundtrack hit number 1 on Billboard. Like the top 2 songs hit number 1 on Billboard. They won Grammys just the other day. And the storyline behind it is how, in the story, and tell me if you guys know this. I don't like I don't assume that everybody watches these kinds of things because it was animated. I'd talk Andy into watching it, and he was really glad he did. You watched it more than once too, huh?
Five
Because it was a
times.
cartoon. It was
Yeah.
animated.
And you pick up different things every time you watch it. That's why I have a tendency to watch things multiple times that I enjoy.
And that message in that movie literally is about sound vibration, is about frequency shifting, what they call the Han moon, right? And which had been kind of affected and distorted by the demons, right? K-pop Demon Hunter. And these girls that were in a K-pop group were able to sing such strong music and lyrics and hit these frequencies that shifted the Han moon, that shifted it back into light so that the darkness would go away. No mistake that that's happened to hit because they worked on that for 7 years. 7, number of spirituality, right? In numerology. All of these are signs and signals. And the fact that it really spoke to the sound frequencies tells us the power we have of our voice and the energy in which we project. So if you guys haven't seen that, it's on Netflix. Go watch it, and you'll be hooked on the music. I watch animated.
Number one
So coded.
streamed video in the history of time. I think it was, I forget the number, billions of minutes
Yeah.
have been watched of that. And when we talked about it and the symbolisms that are in there, the female group, which is a good energy, made up of three. The bad boys made up of five, and that plays into the idea that women are stronger than men. So for the men with the bad energy, in order for them to combat the three women, they had to have a larger group energy wise to try to overtake them. So a lot of that symbolism actually matches our real world. And the fact that it took 7 years for them to do it and it dropped now, there's something about timing, and it just was in the
And
right
the
place at the right
kids
time.
got it like that. I mean, my
Yeah.
granddaughter was like, "Grandma, you have to watch this. It's so up your alley." I was like, "All right." She goes, "And it's in English." I don't mind subtitles, but she was all like, "It's in English." I'm like, "Okay." You know? Um,
And the backstory, because, well, I'm in the media, and I can't remember her name, Jay, who wrote Golden. The backstory
TJ.
of her, she was training to become I guess, K-pop artist, never made it, but she hung tough and she wrote that song. And now
She wrote songs
everybody,
for a bunch of
yeah,
K-pop idols. The
exactly.
song we're talking about is the song "Golden." It's called "Golden." Go look it up on YouTube. They have all of the music. There's that one, and oh, what's this? This is what it sounds like. That's the
Right.
other song that was amazing because it speaks to everybody going through wearing masks and all of our weaknesses, and how if you let the fear of really showing up authentically, it actually interferes with your energy. There, like Andy said, there's a ton of messages
Yeah.
that are
And,
appropriate for the time we're in right now.
and her
Um,
real life story inspires me because her dream may have changed, but she never gave up on herself. She never became a K-pop star, but she never gave up on her talent and believing in herself. So things change. You
She
don't
was
always
half
get,
demon, half demon hunter. Like
yeah.
she was, so she was trying to hide her heritage, where she came from, and was told and taught to hide. Like all of us. Like all of us. So many of us were raised, you know, what goes on in our house stays in our house. We don't talk about, and now we need to talk about everything. We can't pretend anymore. Literally cannot pretend that everything going on in the world doesn't affect us. It used to be really taboo to talk about money, to talk about finances, to really look at all of the stuff, right? The income and everything. It's not taboo anymore because we all have to have these talks. And literally what's going on in this country right now, and how our, if you want to call it leadership, poor leadership, our leadership is tanking the economy, tanking the jobs, and they can blame it on AI. Y'all, AI is not capable of doing the things they're saying. Maybe at some point in the future, but we are way far away from that right now in this country. Aside from our robotics that would make AGI possible, make it more generative, and not, type in a prompt and tell it what to do and then it fulfills its tasks, it make it more autonomous as well. We are way far away from that. There's so many errors. If you guys saw the post that were going around about Clawbot and Moltbook, they finally came out. I think it was this morning. So much has happened this week. I think it was this morning, and they admitted that it's not an AI. There's this site called Moltbook where the Claude bot, or Claude, they've changed the name of that like three times too in the last week. Um, the AIs were created their own social media site, and they're all having conversations, right? About their humans, about their philosophy, about blah, blah, blah. There's all this stuff going on. Finally, today they came out and said, no, that's being manipulated by the actual humans, um, not the AI agents. They thought it was just an AI agent. Everybody fell for it. And I think it was a great marketing scheme. But here's reality, there's severe security risks to downloading and hosting Claudebot. It gets control of your entire computer and permission to your wallets and everything else. Like, we're not there.
No.
I don't
And
care what they say. We're not there, and we're definitely not there in the US.
Bernadette does the deep dive in so many respects, and she on top of that. But I have a tendency to follow the money, and I know private equity is really fed up with throwing money down the black hole of AI, and they're stopping their funding of projects because they're not getting the return that they anticipated. So the whole AI and AI is holding up the stock market. It's about 70% of the growth of the market,
Yeah.
and if the private equities begin to stop funding AI projects, the market's going to crash.
I honestly don't know if they care. Um, I don't. I I think that's kind of the point. I think they're using AI as a shield right now, um, as these corporations scale back, right? Because they know what's coming. You think Bezos doesn't know what's coming? He's in on shaping policy right now. They're all talking. Meta, Musk, Bezos, all of them, Thiel. They are all in on what this administration is doing and where it's driving things. And they all think that they're one up on all of us. And it is what it is, but we have to stay on top of it. And then all the media buyouts and making things conglomerates. And I mean, Andy's been in radio for over 40 years. So he knows how small now the number of owners to media, the big media companies are, compared
Yeah.
to what it was just not that long ago, 10 years.
The consolidation happened fast, and the media was probably the last business that consolidated. We spent years reporting on the consolidation of industries and bankruptcies, and cities like Detroit dying for a variety of reasons. And then after the Communications Act of 1996 got passed, which allowed corporations to own as many radio and TV stations as they wanted across the country, consolidation happened, which meant we started to go through exactly what the rest of the country had been going through and we had been reporting on for years. Consolidation meant, you know, jobs disappeared and
Yeah.
the back office stuff gets consolidated. So you have one business center for the whole company, and all the business people, all the office people go away. All of that stuff's happening. And when you end up that way, you end up with a corporate voice. And CBS and Larry Ellison with TikTok now are testament to that. Not all, but most of the reports of ICE sessions have disappeared from TikTok since the 22nd of January. And there's a reason for that. And Trump doesn't like the optics, and Trump said we got to put the deal together. And Ellison's his buddy.
Well, that's why I mean, Substack's trying. I think I sent you a message about that. Substack's implementing some new features. They're trying to get more um, video feeds and video posts up on their platform. I think they're going to try to step in as the new replacement for TikTok because a lot of people are leaving the platform. But so I don't think that's going to work either because so much of that people hide behind paywalls and it's the discoverability is not there. And I don't know if you guys have tried the other platforms. So far, none of them are easy for discovery. Yes, there's more independence and less censorship like Skylight or Blue Sky, but uploading takes forever. It's not fun. It's like I tried Upscrolled and I check at least once a day what's going on in Upscrolled. I don't get it. Like there's people that are praising Upscrolled. It's not. it's not hitting for me. Like, I
Right.
haven't posted anything because I don't feel like there's clarity with the feed, and there's too much of
My thing, I'll tell you where I am, and you know, because I'm a media person, but I try to look at those things as a normal person, and I've tried upscroll a couple of different times. There's no ease of usage for me, so I'm not going to put up with it. And I've gone there two or three different times and left frustrated, so I haven't
are you
gone
talking
back and
about
forth again.
Skylight? Not up scrolled.
No upscroll because I can't figure out how to sort through the stuff. Skylight's the same thing. You're right. I've gone there too, and uh, TikTok spoiled us. And
TikTok did kinda spoil us.
I think the biggest difference between approaches is the Chinese try to figure out, and they've done this with their country. They try to figure out what their people want and they give it to them. And they've done that with their algorithm in TikTok. The American or the Western perspective is I'm the smart guy. I'm creating this program. I'm going to tell you what you want and I'm going to give it to you. The perspective is different. If you look at TikTok since the 22nd of January, the filter is different because I'm going to tell you what you're going to see. Whereas the Chinese said, you know what, we're going to plan the algorithm and we're going to find out what you like and we're going to feed you what you like.
Yeah.
That's not the Western perspective because the
Hi,
Western
Lillian.
perspective is they're ego driven and I know better than you because I'm the smart guy. I'm going to tell you what you like.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot of talk about other platforms, and is someone gonna replace it? My hope is that they fix the censorship, that there's way too much now, you know, every other every other video is a Fox News channel from somewhere in the country. It seems to have taken over the feed. We've got more politicians now on TikTok and all these other things, and it's like, yeah, I left Facebook for all that sort of BS. Hopefully we have a way to um, still make connection. But I'm going to tell you guys, like, there's a lot coming, and we need to be prepared. So that's why we came on tonight. But yeah. And if you guys want, like, I'm more than happy. We can throw tarot cards on some of the questions y'all have about what's happening, where things are going. I can tell you from just having to do a yearly forecast, a sort of a predictions show for my hidden wisdom people. If you guys are interested in that, like, the yearly reports out. We've already done February for the month as well, and I do a monthly forecast on top of the yearly, and then we do coaching in there. It's $40 a month to be part of that community, and there's a lot jam packed full of a vault of on-demand classes and books and downloads and meditations and all kinds of things in there. um, Tarot
It's all
books that
good.
I've written, to help you hone in on, even if you're not like super proficient at tarot. You will get very specific answers with the tarot books and the readings that I've created for those specific books. How do we prepare? That is a multi-layered question. It's a very good question. So let's start with this. How's this, Asani? Let's start with how do we prepare with what part? Because remember, and I want to be clear about this, we all need to shift our energy and our focus in preparation for all of the changes that are going to be happening, again layered, psychologically, emotionally, right, physically, like within your health and how you feel, financially, and then from the standpoint of the things that give us security as well. So where do you want to start? Tell me that. Which one do you want me to start with? Because I there's a lot of things that I've already been. Thankfully, Spirit has had me prepare with things. One of the first things I did, in fact, our electrician came out today. I got a portable solar generator that we are actually putting connecting to the electricity sub panel in my house, so that if the power goes out, we can just hit switches and it goes onto the battery backup and is solar fed. They're in my backyard. They're not going to be on my roof. It was not a cheap system, but we've got two refrigerators. We've got my daughter sleeps with a CPAP machine. It's Texas. We need to be cool. While I can't run our central air conditioning off of that unit, I can run a portable and literally keep the house powered 24/7 in case of power outage. Spirit had me get that, which was a huge expense. But now that we're putting all of the pieces together, I actually feel a little bit more relaxed. And I'll tell you, one of the reasons for that is because our power grid is literally going to continue to weaken throughout this year because of the weather and everything else. Hold on a minute. I got to see if I can change my. I'm trying to change my. It's like super hot in here. Come on. Okay. Hopefully my air conditioning will come on because it's super hot. Peace of mind is worth it. It is. All right. Physically and mentally. So from a health perspective, let's start there. And I'll throw some cards because sometimes it just helps me focus. Um, and I'll tell you um, from the standpoint of physical, and this is confirming exactly what I was going to tell you anyways. Make sure that you have longer than 72 hours. A lot of people that are getting prepared for emergency situations. And look, I'm going to tell you guys right now, because I already told my people this. They know what months, and I'm not going to get into specifics. You guys got to get into hidden wisdom for that. But this year we're going to have power outage stuff. We're going to have problems with healthcare. Y'all already know that. We're going to have supply chain issues, major supply chain issues. They have not hit here yet. They are going to, and we will see them fairly quickly, even with food. So make sure you have more than 72 hours of backup supply. I say if you can stock three weeks worth of food, emergency supplies, medicine, water, 3 weeks. Make sure you can make it for 3 weeks. That is a minimum this year to hold back. And if you don't have the money to do it all at once, start buying a little bit extra every time you go to the store. From a mental perspective, embrace discomfort. Okay? Embrace discomfort, like for real. More than anything this year, we've got to give up the idea that things are going to be comfortable and easy. They're not going to be comfortable, and they're not going to be easy. Anytime you go through change, anytime you birth something, it's not comfortable. Any woman that has gone through childbirth knows that. Ain't comfortable. It's not easy. There's a huge reward at the end of all of that 9 months of discomfort and a whole however many hours of labor. It's not comfortable, and yet the end result will help you process what we're going to walk through. So, from a mental perspective, I want you guys to understand not everybody's going to be able to handle truth. Not everybody's going to have discernment. You have to pace yourself on all levels, mental and emotional and even physical right now. How much can I handle? Shore up your leaks. Like if you really want to be prepared for all of the changes as they're unfolding this year, and there's going to be a lot and it's going to be rapid. We're already going through it. Like we're in it. There's no going back. There's no backing out, right? No refunds. We're in it. If you can understand that some people do not have the capacity to take on the truth, to get beyond their belief systems that make them feel safe, even if it does not keep them safe. There's a lot of people that can't really process because they've got their own stuff that they're still trying to hold back from seeing, right? People are blind, they want to stay blinded. And if you can accept that people are making their choices, and if you really believe in one source energy, one God, there's an afterlife. There's something beyond this. This is not the end point. This is a stop on our eternal journey. Whatever choices people make in this life, we got to let them make those choices. And if they ask for help, fine. If they're open to understanding, great. But we can't force it upon them. We just can't. We have to accept it. If you guys have not read the Four Agreements, read the Four Agreements. And I always send my private clients, that's one of the books I tell them to read at a certain part in our journey of working together, because there's understanding within the Four Agreements. If you really get it, it is understanding that just because you think something's a certain way doesn't mean someone else is going to. And it also doesn't mean that that's wrong for them not to. Maybe they're not meant to get it into this lifetime, or they're choosing not to. Whatever. Not your ride, not your circus, not your monkeys. And don't judge them for it, because God only knows what we've done in previous lifetimes. That's always how I kind of look upon it. So knowing that people are going to be losing it, people are going to be crazy, lives are going to be more intense, it's going to overwhelm you mentally. So you've got to shore up any energy leaks, check in with your body. One of the things I see so many people did last year, and a lot of people did during COVID and do all the time when they're going through trauma, is they get pitch out of their body, right? They don't want to be embodied. They don't want to feel it. They don't want to process it. They can't handle it. And when you're not in your body, right? You're out in la la land because you can't handle what's going on. You're not connected intuitively and grounding that wisdom in so that you can move forward. Honestly, it's in the night. Oh, thanks, Lillian. All right. So, hopefully that helps. Like, y'all, keep cash on hand. I'll tell you guys, and I'm not saying this to scare anyone. I'm telling you, this is the messages that I've been getting. This is what I've been doing, because this is what Spirit's been telling me. When I first moved to Texas, I had my business account, my personal accounts in a credit union when we were living in Washington. Well, when I moved to Texas, I signed up for a credit union. Great, fine. They did my personal account. They made it really difficult, if not impossible, to bring my business account in. So my business bank accounts were with Wells Fargo. And in the last month, Spirit's like, get your money out of Wells Fargo. Get your money out of Wells Fargo. Get it to the credit union. I'm like, they wouldn't do it. So I gave them a chance, and I called and I said, look, when I moved here, you guys said I needed this, and this to open my business account. Is that still the case? Is there a way around that? And they said, oh, we changed the requirements and the documentation. So yes, you can actually open an account with us for your business. So that happened. And I'm telling you guys, funny, after I did that, I see all these things with people's credit cards getting closed, people's bank accounts getting closed. Which banks are they? Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and who was it? Chase, I think. If the market crashes, will cash be any good? Only for a short amount of time, but for a short amount of time while things stabilize. But you're better off having enough cash to kind of keep you going for a little while, at least through the initial stuff, Pat. It's a good question, though. Reality is, dollars aren't going to do anything but be toilet paper after a certain point if there is a true economic collapse and a revaluing of the dollar. Um, but remember, at the first sign of kind of bank holidays where you can't pull your money out, things are still being bought and sold in the initial collapse period. So you got to have cash. I heard Wells Fargo is not the move. They're very unreliable. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've been good to me. They've been fine to me. I don't do a lot with my business accounts, just the normal businessy things, right? Pay for subscriptions and memberships for software and blah, blah, blah. Um, but at a certain point, you start getting nervous about where your money's at. And when Spirit says move your money out of Wells Fargo, I listened. It took a whole week and a half to get it done because of the paperwork that they needed. And then transferring all my money out into my credit union. But it's done. And I'm not gatekeeping, y'all. I'm telling you. When Spirit told me back in 2011, 2012, you need goats, woke me up one morning and said, build a chicken coop, get some chickens, get some goats. I was like, why? Why? Like, what now? Um, I got goats. Didn't know shit about goats. Had to learn about goats. Now I had a little mini ranch. And in October of that year, my granddaughter was born. Lo and behold, she was allergic to every single formula on the planet, and my daughter could not breastfeed. So, guess what my granddaughter was raised on for the first 2.5, 3 years of her life? Goat's milk that we had to add some supplements to so that she could handle it and water it down. But that's what she lived on, goat's milk. If I didn't have goats, that would have never happened. So, when Spirit tells me to do shit, I do shit. I mean, hell, Spirit told me to shut down my horse ranch back in 2000 and move to Colorado sight unseen without knowing what I was going to do for work. Had to liquidate my ranch, sell 6 of my 8 horses, move me and my little girl 3 states away, and start over. It was the best thing that ever happened to me, but it wasn't not scary. It was scary. It was risky. Everyone thought I had lost my mind. You're listening to the voices again, Bernadette. Changed my life. Totally changed my life for the better. So when Spirit
When
says do something, I do something. And
when
I'm
you
just
when you
telling you guys.
when you say you're not gatekeeping, explain that. What do you mean by that?
I'm not keeping back from everyone the stuff that Spirit's specifically telling me. I'm not going to put it behind a paywall and gatekeep it and not tell you guys what's going on. When Spirit says something and it has to do with current affairs in the world and what's coming, I'm sharing it with y'all. You know, and if it speaks to you and if Spirit gives you or your intuition hits on different things, then pay attention to it. You guys don't need like a full-blown system. I have a family of 5. My dad, my daughter, my granddaughter, my son-in-law, me. We all live in this house. I run my business out here. Some of my equipment, when I'm helping people, my Rife equipment needs electricity. So there's a reason for me to invest into solar to keep my stuff going to help people. But for things like refrigerator, uh, normal, keeping normal things, being able to make coffee, um, or even run the microwave, they have smaller systems that only cost $300 or $400. Portable solar generators, and I say solar because it's rechargeable and can last forever. We had one in Colorado. We had that one for probably 10 years and saved us in many blackouts. And we had plenty of blackouts when we lived there because of ice, because the transformers would blow during the winter. So we haven't had one here, but Spirit said there's going to be problems with the grid as we move forward. And you know what's funny? Not funny. The president said it in 25 multiple times how weak our grid is, and they stopped passing permits for solar and wind for regenerative, sustainable energy. but they're adding all kinds of demand onto the grid. So we've got to be prepared for that too. And then on the other side of that, there's a trend towards problems with our beef supply, our meat supply. I don't know how many of you have noticed there's something wrong with the chickens. I stopped eating chicken. I won't eat it. I'll eat some porks and some beefs, but they're saying the supply of it worldwide is diminishing because we've taken all the farmland and we're replacing it with data centers, which can't feed us. But then you look at the freeze that just happened in Florida and all the farms that got frozen and flooded and on and on and on. That's why I say y'all need to prepare. Become as sustainable, self-sustaining as you possibly can. Back in the 50s, 40s, 30s, everybody had a garden. Everybody had a garden. We're going to have to go back to that. And what really sucks is a lot of the seeds that are available are not heirloom. You've got to buy heirloom seeds so that you can actually take the seeds from the plants that you're growing, replant them to create new plants. The ones that are not heirloom, you can't grow again from those seeds. It produces seeds, but they're not fertile seeds.
Yep. And the other dynamic, since my side hustle is in a grocery store, and we as a culture have become used to that, we have access to everything year round because we bring stuff in from all over the globe. Wherever you're living and working, you need to figure out what is sustainable there because you can't grow everything that you may want because we bring in avocados from Mexico or mangoes from South America. There are people when we talk about, well, Rainier cherries are out of season. People look at us and go, "What? They're out of season?" It's like that's the way it used to be when you would grow stuff in your own backyard. You could only grow things that would grow in wherever you were living.
Yeah. And we import a huge amount of food from other countries. The chicken thing's weird. Like it's caused a lot of inflammation for people. And like my dogs get real itchy if they eat any food that has chicken. That should tell us everything we need to know. Like it does cause a ton of inflammation. Pat's saying I want solar, but I'm surrounded by a tall forest. You'd be surprised, even in the forest with light, how much sun can actually get through. If you would have to put your panels probably on your roof. I mean, I know people that have used solar generators on RVs in the middle of a forest, and they still get enough sun to produce some solar kickbacks. But check in your local area. Like I always say for that kind of stuff, like go into your local Facebook group and find out if you're on Facebook, like find out if anyone else is using solar. But you'd be surprised. Like you'd be surprised how, and if not solar, wind, get a windmill, you know, um, and then convert that energy. There's some good books on that stuff, and good videos on YouTube about DIY type projects. I'm too old to be doing a lot of DIY. I like DIY projects. I love them, but I'm getting a little too old. And after my last round of cancer, I'm like trying to, and my dad being 84, he thinks he can still do something. The electrician today was like, well, you're not going to dig stuff up. I'll have my guys trench the pipe in. He's like, you don't need to be. My dad's like, I'll go out there with my shovel. I need a couple of weeks. I'm like, dude, just accept that you're old. Like, he won't. I mean, he still thinks he can do all that. And I'm like, Dad. I'm like, I'll help you, but
Well, you have to admire the mindset, but you also have to have a little more and be a little more realistic about what you can actually physically do. So I appreciate the mindset. The solar and wind technology, given the American mindset and what our uh, extinguished leader likes to say that nobody uses wind or solar, the Chinese are weaning themselves off of oil, although they still import oil. They are very quickly weaning themselves off of oil by using solar and wind technology. They are the biggest producers of solar and wind technology on the face of the earth. So don't believe anything Western civilization says about the lack of solar and wind technology not being productive and not working. The Chinese have proven it works.
There's magnet technology too. If you do some research, and that would probably like I did research probably 15 years ago about creating a magnet generator. I don't have the time to do all of that, nor do I have the space where my dad won't get pissy about taking up garage space. Um, but there are you can create a magnet free energy generator if you're smart, like, and if you follow other people have experimented with it, it actually does work. How you convert that from DC to AC, right? It, through an inverter and a switch and all of that stuff is a whole other, like I said, I don't have the time to go down that rabbit hole. Nor do I think it's needed when I can afford to just put up solar. We live in Texas. We have a lot of free sun to the point where it's annoying. It gets so freaking sunny and hot here. But yeah, so I'm going to use what I can. Our only other thing is water, you know. Although I think here's the other part y'all need to be prepared for, like weather patterns this year are going to be so different than what I think we're used to. And if you guys don't already see that just from this winter, get ready. More
Well,
records
I mean,
being broken this year, so be prepared for that.
we're on a split screen and we're in two different places. You're freezing your butt off. Here in Las Vegas, we are 15 degrees above normal for this
It
time
was
of year.
warm today in the afternoon. It was cold this morning though.
Yeah. So, I mean, the weather patterns, I haven't picked up my Farmer's Almanac to know what they're predicting, but the weather patterns are just so weird to go along with the energy that we're experiencing.
Yeah. It's interesting times. We're in interesting times. All right. So, what else do you guys want to know? I hope I answered that for you, Asani. Um, yeah. Again, ask whatever you want. I'll tap into it. Different questions about where things are going, you know. I'm not going to answer personal questions. You guys want that? Just go book a reading with me. Because I did open up readings. I've limited to how many I'm going to do every week, but I did open them back up because people keep messaging me going, "Are you doing readings again?" I'm like, damn it. Okay, I'll do them. What about you, Mr. Andy? You got any questions? You always
Um,
ask me stuff.
yeah, still, as I was before we hit the air, you and I were talking about not the mixed messages, but all the stuff that is out there, because I'm in my journey of growth and I'm listening to an audiobook of Seth Speaks and some of the recommendations that I'm hearing as I go through the chapters there. And then, I'm a big believer in signs. You know that. You and I talk about signs or things that I have moments of clarity that I picked up. And on Facebook, all of a sudden, and maybe it's because they're also redoing their algorithm, I'm getting all these things, and maybe because of my age, I'm getting all these things about, are you lonely? Or I'm your girlfriend Sophia, and I'm wondering,
Are they
you know,
sponsored posts though?
no, I think they're purposely not blocked, but they're vague because I have to click on it to go further, and I don't because it just basically introduces who she is, and I'm Sophia, and I've seen your profile, and I'm interested and want to know
Check
more
though.
about you.
Okay, so this is it sounds to me like they're sponsored posts. They're paid for ads.
But I
That's what
did,
it sounds like.
but Facebook normally, like TikTok, actually says sponsored on them, right? Most of the time, aren't they supposed to clearly identify themselves?
They kind of do, but if you're not paying attention,
Yeah.
you know. I mean, I can tell you scams are up in a big way. I don't know how many tell me if this is true for y'all. My spam calls on a daily basis has increased tenfold in the last month.
Off the charts. My
In the
phone is
last
ringing
month.
all day long,
Yep.
all day long.
Yep. Hi, Harmageddon. How are you?
And I'm
So,
And I'm
not
wondering,
surprising that you've got spammy kinda posts showing up on your
well,
Facebook.
and I'm wondering if the algorithm is specifically sort of reading into the situation that we're all right now in a very awkward place. And there are a lot of lonely people out there. So the algorithm is feeding that. And obviously, Facebook is, and Mr. Zuckerberg is in it to make money. So you're right. He's feeding you those sponsored ads because your algorithm, maybe the way you're searching around, you're looking for some companionship or
Look,
something.
I ran ads on Facebook, years ago, but I can tell you the way you literally you decide the demographics, and that's who those ads get served to. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's very possible that you're either in the zip code, you're in the demographic, you happen to be a man. Um, I have a voiceover IP, nothing but spam calls, crazy.
It is.
It's gotten bad. Like, it's ridiculous. Now my phone will say potential scam and I just send them to voicemail, and if they don't leave a voicemail, I know it had to have been spam, because people that actually want to talk to me are going to leave a message, and if they're not, then don't leave me a message. I'm not going to call you back, right? On average, I get 7 to 10 per day. Yeah, it's crazy. It has rapidly increased.
I
Probably
get
because
more
they
than that.
know there's no punishment, right? So we'll just keep
Mhm.
doing it because no one's going to punish us. There's no consequences in the US anymore, especially if it involves money, unless you're of the color or type that the government doesn't want here. There's no consequences.
Well, and the other part of that is technology is borderless. So although the FTC may say we can protect you from this stuff, if it's coming from outside the country, they can't protect you from
They
it.
can't. They literally no. No, and I mean they've busted so many of the rings, and yet it's still um but like a lot of the spam calls aren't even for me. They're for a lady who had my phone number 5 years ago. I'm like, I keep telling, this is not the number. Stop calling me. Like, change your records. But she's apparently, because when I went to go get my tire sensors fixed, that was the number she used at Discount Tire, and I'm like, I have had this number for 4 years. Like, what?
Yeah.
5 years probably. I don't
The
even know.
one
It's been
the one
long.
that I find a little perplexing and haven't figured out yet, I recently got another car. So, I had to go to the bank and get a loan and stuff and financial information. After I got done doing that, all of a sudden I'm getting unprompted calls from people saying I've been pre-approved for a $36,000 loan, a $46,000 loan. I'm thinking to myself, I didn't apply anywhere. Why am I getting these cold calls from these people saying I've been pre-approved from these loans? And I said,
Because when you get a loan, that company sells your information to these other companies. That is how that shit works. And because you're a man, it's okay. Meanwhile, women are getting their credit cards canceled for no apparent
yeah,
reason.
yeah, but similar to the spam calls, except these folks actually leave voicemail messages. So I get 3 or 4 of those a day, every single day, from people saying, "You've been pre-approved for this and for that. Give us a call back." Or even better, they say, "If you don't, you can opt out to call us to opt out." I say, "If I'm going to opt out, I'm just not going to respond. Why would I call you to opt out so you can hook me on the phone and try to make a better deal?" It's like, what are these people? These people think I'm an idiot? But you're
Mm.
right. That I know my bank. It wasn't my bank. I went through somebody else. I should have gone through my bank, but my bank's deal wasn't as good as where I went. But they probably sold my information to somebody else, and now I'm getting all these calls.
Yeah. No. All right. So let's you were asking me a question earlier, or we were having a conversation before we went live about um finding hope, right?
Yeah,
So I'm going to
that I
share a story with you guys. If you follow me on Facebook, you already know this. If you don't follow me on Facebook, you're welcome to. I don't go over there very often, but I do post every now and then, and I do check in because our groups are over there. But my granddaughter auditioned for several ballet company intensives, right? Every year in the summer, these big ballet companies put on these summer intensive trainings, but you have to audition for them. 15 out of 15 of the auditions she did, she got accepted by. Not all full programs. The one she didn't put any stock into or have any hope for was ABT, American Ballet Theater, which is in New York and is the US's most prestigious ballet academy. It's where Misty Copeland went, if you guys know who that is. Anyhow, she's 13. It's her first formal year. It's her first year formal ballet. First year she's been on point. And so getting accepted by ABT when there was three other girls in her studio that have been dancing longer than her that were not accepted is a huge deal. Huge deal. And so my daughter wants her to do it, and they paid for it's not cheap. Like, it's expensive. Um she's like, when she was at the convention a couple weeks ago, they signed her up or accepted because my granddaughter's ballet teacher, who used to dance for Pacific Northwest Ballet, is like, that's the program she needs to go to. That will change her life. And she has excelled so crazy fast. Everybody's noticing she's got some crazy natural talent. But the cost for my daughter and my granddaughter to stay in New York for 5 weeks is not cheap, especially because it's also happening during the time of FIFA, and they have not canceled the FIFA in New York and in that area. So, like, the Airbnbs, hotels, they're off the charts expensive at that time of year. There's a bunch going on in New York. Regardless, my daughter started to freak out the other night. She came in and she gave me a headache because she projects some strong empathic energy. She's like, maybe we shouldn't let her go, everything that's going on in the world. And I'm sharing this because a lot of you are probably in that mindset as well, right? Like, I was telling Andy, so many people right now are putting their dreams on the shelves, or they're not even dreaming because, holy crap, what do we have to look forward to? Look at all of this mess. I talked my daughter into starting a fundraiser to help pay for my granddaughter's endeavor in New York, which is going to be somewhere in the realm of $12,000 when it's said and done, right? For housing, for the academy, for travel, blah blah blah. And I'm going to drive them there and then drive home by myself rather than A, put them on a plane, and B, so my daughter has someone there to help her because she's anxious the first couple of days. So I'm like, I'll drive there. I'll pay to garage my car, whatever. It would have been easy for us all. And I had these thoughts pass through my mind through the last 2 weeks is in the state of the world right now, this isn't the right time for her to be pursuing that. But as I was telling Andy earlier, and what I told my daughter, Addie's only going to be 13 once. Addie's only going to have her first year of formal ballet training with an acceptance to ABT once. She may never get accepted again. We don't know. It doesn't matter what the frick is going on in the world right now. That girl is 13 with her future ahead of her. We don't know, good or bad, what's coming. They have for years tried to erase the arts, the creativity, dance, music, classical ballet and piano, artists, erase those things from society because those things connect us to source. I think that we should and need to support the young people in their dreams right now and not try to talk them out of them because they are our future. Think about that. So my daughter did finally do the fundraiser, but it's something that I think we actually have to think about. It's really easy, especially because I'm 59 years old, to just kind of resign myself to, We've got to ride through this shit and get through it and help people through it and blah, 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 and survive it. And a lot of people's mentality is there, survive it. But part of the reason I'm bringing this up tonight is to remind everybody we should be striving for more than just survival. They want us in survival mode because then they can make us comply. Then they can get rid of our resistance. We need to push beyond that. We need to support each other. We need to still focus on a vision for our future and walk towards that vision. And the young people should be dreaming. The American dream, which was a fake dream that supported capitalism to begin with, is dying. But real dreams, real chasing after the very things that are life affirming, we got to support those who are wanting to do that and are doing it. I always sought to get rid of hope. Pandoran or Jar. Harmageddon. Like if a lot of people, and I get that, like a lot of people are like, I don't want to have any hope because I don't want to be disappointed. That in itself is defeatist survival mode mentality. And I understand where it comes from. All that is a message to you, though, is you've got some healing work to do. Heal. There is so much to hope for, y'all. There's so much to be hopeful for. To start your day in a place where you're already compromising, sacrificing, minimizing, and just getting by, that is not life. It is not life. And I'm not telling you guys this because it's the motivational, inspirational shit to do. I wouldn't tell you something that I haven't already done in my life multiple times and still do to this day. Right? I've done crazy things that people told me I shouldn't, I couldn't, I wouldn't. And I did it so fast to make people's heads spin, not to prove anything to anybody, but to show people what was possible. And I shared it out loud. I'm like, y'all can be afraid all you like a new White House regime. I actually heard someone who that did a video and it made perfect sense. He said, Kamala could still be president. If she became the Speaker of the House and we flipped parties and they convicted those that are in the administration, the job goes to the Speaker of the House. Boom.
And to be Speaker of the House, you don't have to be a member of Congress.
Exactly.
They can choose whoever they want.
There is hope, y'all. There is hope. I know that sometimes when we get kicked over and over again, it's hard to have that hope. But I'm telling you, don't give up. I went through some dark, dark stuff. Let me see it. Where's my... I don't even know where my book is. I've been through a whole lot in my life. A lot. And I wrote about it. It's in my memoir. Things that most people will never have to go through, thank God, and things that would spin people's heads around because a lot of it is supernatural, paranormal crap on top of real trauma from human beings.
What would be the title of that book, might I ask?
Hold on.
Since you mentioned it, A Crooked Path to a Charmed Life.
There's my book. See that, y'all? Crooked Path to a Charmed Life. Clairvoyant Medium's Journey to Embracing Your Spiritual Gifts. You can get it everywhere. It's audio, it's ebook, it's paperback. So you can get it on my website too. All the links for Amazon are on my website. And I shared everything. Like I held nothing back from that. It took me 5 years to write. Spirit told me to write it to help people understand if I can get through my life, y'all can get through yours. And I'm not trying to say that my traumas were worse than others, but it was the over and over and over again, like getting kicked every time I'd start to stand up again, right? Get kicked again every freaking time. But here's the thing. Weebles, wobbles, but they don't fall down. I just kept getting back up, kept getting back up, kept getting back up. And I believed that there was a power so great that put the strength in me to get through all of it for a purpose. And that power and that knowing gets me through every day as we go through this BS. It got me through stage 4 lymphoma and going through chemo and radiation a year and a half ago. Right? Like, and it gets me through today, this far. What, I'm over a year out from chemo and radiation, and I'm still struggling with brain fog, and I'm still struggling with getting my body back to normal and recovering my stomach and my hair growing and being in a weird, funky place that I don't recognize the texture of, and all the things is getting me through all of that because I know no matter what, there's still a reason to wake up tomorrow morning. It may not be as easy to get out of bed, y'all. Ain't no lie. It's hard sometimes to get out of bed through all of this bullshit with vigor and vitality. But out of bed I go, right? I have hope on the outside, not on the inside. It's always inside out. We can't go outside in, y'all. It's inside out. Your peace, your strength, your hope, your sovereignty, inside out, not the other way around.
The one thing I always say, and in my business, I've been a coach off and on for years, and I always tell the people I coach that hoping doesn't make it so. You've got to take the hope and take action on it.
So
There's the difference.
what's better than hope? And I'll tell all of you this. What's better than hope? What trumps hope all day, every day? Gratitude. What are you grateful for? If you can't generate hope, generate gratitude. Every one of us has something to be grateful for. And when we're focused on what we don't have, that's why we lose hope. When we are not grateful for what we've already got, what we continue to have within our lives, we lose hope. We don't want to hope for anything. Why? You've already got great things. That energy then multiplies, magnifies, amplifies, projects out, and then it comes right back to you multiplied. If you can't generate hope, generate gratitude, intentionally create, be aware of what do I have to be grateful for. But again, that has to start from the inside. I can be grateful. That's one of my strongest skills. And you know what? It's one of the most powerful things we can do is to be grateful, to be thankful for the things and the people that matter that we have in our lives, right? Sometimes it's not hope that we need. The Shawshank Redemption is one of my favorite movies. It's all about hope. It's a movie. I'm telling you, like from a realistic standpoint, you know, I have more than hope because hope passes. So does disappointment. I believe that every single thing that is happening for the highest good of all of us. And in the end, will always turn out for the positive and for the good, whether that be through lessons and growth or things that burn away and fall apart because they're meant to. It will create growth and instill within us the things that we chose to learn in this lifetime. Does that mean that there aren't going to be losses? No. This place, this planet, excuse me,
Bless you.
transitory, you know, but we can always be grateful. There's like literally, y'all. The fact that you can breathe, be grateful. There are people that can't, that are sitting in a hospital room with oxygen stuck up their nose. There are people that can't walk. There are people that don't have a voice. There are people that don't have the ability to articulate how. There are so many things to be grateful for. Focusing on what you don't have or potential disappointments and fearing the future, so you're not going to have any hope or create any vision, you're stagnating yourself. You're punishing yourself. You're not punishing the people that hurt you in the past. You're not. You're punishing yourself. And you're saying, okay, I'm going to live a really limited, scaled down, minimized life so that I don't get hurt again. Like, hurt me. I don't give a shit. Let's go. Because honestly, most of the hurt that I think we feel that isn't physical can always be healed at
Yeah.
some level.
The fact
There are
that
tools for that.
for me, the fact that I'm able to feel those things, those emotions, it means I'm alive and I have a heart and I've got emotions. I begin my day with thankfulness, and I like to think that whatever path I'm choosing daily with intention, it's for my highest and best usage of my skills and my talents. And if at the end of the day it didn't happen the way I thought it was going to happen, I think to myself, okay, I'll try again tomorrow. That's what keeps me going because you never know what the path is going to do. You're just making choices and trying to make the best choices, not only for you, but everyone else, because what you do does influence people. You've taught me that, although I was a denier of influence for years. So when you begin to look at it that way and ask yourself that question, is this the highest and best use of my skills and my talents? And you go down that path, and it's not always going to turn out the way you thought it was going to happen, but then you tried. So then at the end of the day, when you try to assess your day, I think to myself, okay, I'll try again tomorrow. And that's what keeps me going every day, along with the hope and the gratitude.
Yeah, that's all we got.
And like the story you told about Addie, because we are borrowing the world from the future, and it's incumbent upon us to be good shepherds so that we can hand it off to the Addies of the world, and they know that we did the best we could to hand them something that they too can use.
Well, and like with her, it really is support the things that are beautiful, support the things that bring beauty into this world. There's one thing my whole life I have been so grateful for about things like the ballet, things like the theater, things like music, things that literally just demonstrate. And I think dance is one of those expressions of the divine, and the gracefulness of it is
Yeah.
just, and it shows discipline. I mean, that girl works her ass off 6 hours a day, 6 days a week. She's dancing.
And well, I grew up in Hawaii, so the having grown up in the time period that I grew up in, I know these days most of us look at sports people as heroes. Growing up in the islands, people looked at the artists, the hula dancers, the singers as our heroes because they create stuff out of whole cloth and they bring joy to our lives. So for us, when I was in high school, everybody revered the artistic folks, not the athletes, the folks that were creative and positive energy. Those were the folks that we looked upon and were inspired by. I'm still inspired by you, and I have conversations about musicians and artists and painters, and I marvel at how they're able to create stuff out of a blank page or a whole cloth. That still I still marvel at that. And those are the folks that we should look to support and revere.
Yeah. Well, the young ones right now need us to believe in their future as well. Like the young kids and the teenagers and Gen Z, they need us to believe that there is a future for them to walk towards as well. And then we need, as the older generation, to protect their future, to stand up for them and the rest of our lives. Again, it cannot be just about survival. It has to be about what supports life. And that's what we're transitioning into. Like that is the main focus. It isn't about production and performative bullshit and achievement. We're moving by the end of this year, we'll be moving away from that. We'll be moving away from just survival. We'll be reconnecting to the heart of hearts of what drives life within us. And I think that's powerful. I know it's going to be hard to walk through because we're addicted to and have bowed down to capitalism our whole lives. So for that to shift and change scares people. Scary. That major of a change is scary.
and exciting.
And exciting. Thank you. I'm glad you said that. And on that note, we're going to call it a night. I literally think we need to remember, as dark as things feel and are seen right now, there's a word I want to leave you with. And I've used this word a couple of times, and I don't know how many of you actually picked up on it. Right now, light is being obscured. The truth is being obscured. And all that means is, like I said at the beginning, there's this funny film of darkness that is permeating our perception, our feelings, the truth, what we're hearing, what we're being told, and how life's playing out. On the 17th, there's a couple of things that happen. We have an eclipse, Chinese New Year, and there's another alignment that takes place that day. 3 days later, we have the 0 point, the Aries point that aligns between Saturn and Neptune. So there is like almost that entire week we are going to feel this very disorienting energy. For a short time during the eclipse, the light of the sun is obscured. Even though the sun's so much bigger than the moon, for a short time, temporarily, the light is obscured. And then the moon moves out of its way and the sun comes full into view again. A lot is being obscured right now. Doesn't mean that we're truly in the dark. It doesn't mean that everything's going to shit. There is light to be had. Wait for that light. Wait for what is in its way that maybe you can't see, you can't sense. Wait a moment. Wait an hour. Wait a day. It will shift. And we're seeing that. And I hope you guys know this is all playing out perfectly the way it was meant to. For us to embrace something new, things have to be shaken up. Things have to end. Things have to be destroyed. And when we have this Saturn Neptune conjunction at the 0 point of Aries, which is at the start of the Fire Horse Chinese New Year, a little over a month ahead of the Aries astrological New Year, a lot of change coming. A lot. I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about. A flying winged creature, Armageddon, flying in front of the sun. I have not seen that. I have not seen reports of that. I have not seen proof of that. So I don't know who they are. But I haven't seen any of that. And I'm outside a lot. I spend a lot of time outside when it's not freezing cold, because I sit out with my dogs with my feet in the in the grass grounding. Anywho, I'm going to leave that with you guys. The light is returning. Divine wisdom is returning. The divine feminine is returning. And we've got some new things getting ready to kick off, but it isn't kicking off with peace. I said this a week ago. The Christ energy is coming to kick it off with fire. And while fire can be destructive, it also births new things and purifies all the ick. So get ready, because apparently some things need to be set on fire so that we can start again. Right. I'm here for it. Are you? I hope that you are. Ah, all right. Thank you, Mr. Andy, for joining in tonight.
Always a pleasure. You know that. I enjoy our conversations and look forward to even more of them.
Yeah, I may come back Friday. I may not come back until we do a Not on Saturday. We'll just see. I'm going to play it by ear right now. For those of you who were not here, go look at my schedule or my bio links, or you can message me. I did open up sessions for readings, which I have not done in the last few years, but on Spirit's direction, I did. And because people kept asking me, I took it to Spirit, and Spirit said, no, you need to start doing some because people actually need them, but stay focused on helping transform them. I always use my gifts when I work with people one on one. I always use my gifts for everything I do, including these talks. I don't come up here just on my own, whatevers. You guys would be fully bored if it was just me. Like Spirit's always behind everything I do. So yeah, here for you. And I hope you guys have a good rest tonight. I know sleep's been wonky too. And feeling rested has felt wonky. We will get through this and we'll do it together. So yeah. All right. I'll see you guys